Four specific initiatives to underscore the importance of agricultural mechanics and the role the sector plays for improving the efficiency and quality of the Italian agro-food chain. This was the Federunacoma contribution to Expo 2015, outlined on June the 11th in Milan by President Massimo Goldoni at a press conference in the Theatre of the Earth Space in the biodiversity area setting in the Great Universal Exposition.
Here in Expo 2015, Federunacoma is present in four different environments. We have in Fab Food with Confindustria here in a pavilion the representative of our importance in all the chain of the production of agricultural products. Then we have a presence in Federalimentare, Cibus e Italia, where we have 11 factories, 11 firms, where they represent what they produce in order to obtain a better and quality process in production of agricultural products and food. Then we have a very important presence here in biodiversity pavilion, where we demonstrate that our technologies, our know-how is very, very important, is able to maintain the environment and the biodiversity of all productions in all the parts of the world. So we can have machinery for forestry, machinery for agricultural, machinery for construction, machinery for all the climate and possibility to work. And then we have a full immersion where dynamic demonstration would take place in Piacenza, where we will demonstrate how our technology is able to give the better solution in order to be safe, sure, qualitatively very, very high, and then for the environment and for the people with the less impact possible.
The annual Federunacoma Assembly was held in Bologna on June the 30th, where data on the trend in the sector and the balance sheet of the activities of the Federation were presented. Also dealt with were the renewal of some of the representational units and the Federunacoma projects planned for the coming year. Also taking part in the gathering were representatives from the Confindustria Studies Office and SACE, and on the live feed from Brussels, EMP Elisabetta Gardini, who provided an update of the regulatory procedure for narrow track tractors.
Today in Bologna we had our assembly, and we divided the moment in two events. The private events with the statutory commitments, with the election of the council of the single association in our federation, and then we have a public part with some very appreciated speech about the situation, about the economy, about the environment of the economy in a worldwide looking, and we had a video conference with Bruxelles with Mrs. Elisabetta Gardini, which is the rapporteur on emissions on narrow tractor with our norms and rules about pollution in emission in the atmosphere. I think this was very important and very appreciated from the people listening, because it's for our industry a very important topic, and we need the support of our institutions. We need to do lobby in a proper way in our European Parliament, and we need to keep the attention on our excellency. We are the first in the world with this kind of machinery, and we have to promote and to preserve our productions from standardization, because we need to be the top level of the quality of the performances of the tools for farmers' work. Then we concluded the assembly with a remember of a very important, very strong man, industry man, which was Egidio Maschio, who died last week, and for us is a very important man who disappeared. And I think we need to be strong, to be very, very tight with the institution, with the banks, with all the economic tissue to be, which we are able to do, the first producer of excellences in agricultural mechanization.
When we talk about geographies of opportunity, we mean those countries where there is still a potential for the agricultural machinery for an additional export. We have estimated an additional export of 2 billion within 2018 for the agricultural machinery. And among the countries that we consider most appealing, there are, for example, Russia, Ukraine. There is also China and India and South Africa and Indonesia. In all these countries, we are still penetrated in terms of Italian export. We can consider that, for example, in India, we export 200 million euro in agricultural machinery, which is the same level of exports that we have in Nigeria. In China, we export almost 700 million euro in agricultural machinery, which is exactly the same import that we export in Turkey. So if we consider that, we can conclude that there is still a potential outside Italy, not necessarily in the non-emerging countries, not necessarily in the evolved countries, in the OECD countries. There are some countries still a bit less known than the usual markets, where we can compete exactly at the same level than our competitors like Germany and the US. Let's keep these opportunities.
Instead of recovery, I would like to use the term getting up, restarting the Italian economy, because they will need a lot of time and a lot of years to come back to the 2007 level of GDP. But in any case, there are many positive signs. Today we released our last estimate of Italian industrial production with a plus 0.2 increase in June on May. Of course, we are not satisfied by the performance of the Italian economy, taking into consideration a very strong push that we are receiving from outside in terms of favorable exchange rate, reduced interest rates, relaunch of world trade, and the halving of oil price. In other times, we would have a strong, very strong increase in Italian GDP. But unfortunately, we have inherited obstacles from the crisis. That means very high level of unemployment, reduced use of capacity, low margins, credit crunch, and a construction sector that is fragile, so that we have to remove those obstacles to have a stronger comeback of the Italian economy.